This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
Hello, you're listening to Animal Party on Pet Life Radio. And I was going to tell you about the very exotic Egyptian-looking cat that's actually from Ontario, the Sphynx cat. I was going to tell you about that today, but I had some technical difficulties starting the show, and I didn't get the chance to really go over it thoroughly. And I don't want to talk about the Sphynx cat if I can't do it justice, because this thing is so strange, and how it occurred and where it is and everything about it is just too weird for me to gloss over. So we're going to talk about it next time when I can really dive into it. And today we're going to talk about a bunch of things. First of all, I think it's amazing that in Sweden, they've decoded whale language using AI. Okay, so normally I don't really have trust AI, and I'm a little bit leery of it. Recently, someone sent me a really cute video of a cartoon of dogs playing at my kennel, Camp Good Dog, and it was an AI creation, and I loved it. But I don't know if I trust it, so I'm just not sure about the uses of AI. But here's one where I really totally and completely approve of this use. They used AI to decode what whales are saying or singing. And so these songs that the humpbacks sing, they can travel thousands of miles and be heard by another whale. Well, that right there is just amazing. Through all the clutter and noise of the ocean, I mean, it's just amazing. So whale songs contain complex grammatical structures, cultural dialects, and information about ocean conditions. And they do this across the entire ocean basin. So basically worldwide, they're talking to each other without email, without satellite. They're just speaking. It's incredible. So this research has shown us that they have one of the most sophisticated non-human communication systems on Earth. They analyzed about 8,000 hours of recordings from underwater microphones in 3 different oceans, and they identified recurring patterns, syntax rules, contextual variations, similar to the way we speak, to human languages. They use everything we do, sentences, and so much of their grammar is the same. So they discovered warning calls, including about predators, that were transmitted for over 1,000 kilometers, mating advertisements, if you will, like Plenty of Fish ads, so to speak, and which would contain individuals' names and navigational information, like, here I am, I'm Lucy, come get me over here in the Indian Ocean, hoo-hoo, that kind of thing. Navigational information about food sources, cultural songs passed down through generations with regional variations. Different whale populations have distinct accents, just like humans do. And they remember their songs and they change them from year to year. So it suggests that there's a history keeping. It's kind of like the way we did before writing. We would put our religion and our songs and prayers and everything into music and then remember them and then retell them and then change them over the years. And so like where the hunting grounds were, where the dangers are, things like this. So some of the song elements remain unchanged for decades, just like our oral traditions, and some of them get an update. So this is all through the University of Stockholm Marine Biology, and well done, AI. What a great use of AI. I think this is fantastic. And we got to start communicating with the whales more. I hope there's a way to use AI like Spock in one of those Star Trek movies. Can't remember which one, but one of them, there's a pregnant whale and they take her from the past and move her to the future. I think I'm getting this right. It's a long time ago. But basically, Spock, who's had something happen to him, so he's a little bit quirky. He's off his game. I think he's just been reborn. I don't know. Spock goes into a tank with a whale. All of a sudden, they're visiting this aquarium because they're trying to airlift these whales out so they'll prevent their extinction. Spock dives into the tank. Everybody's shocked and surprised. He goes in and he mind melds with the whale and finds out that, I think her name was Macy or Maisie. Anyway, she's pregnant. And that's exciting because if they move her, which they do, to the future, she'll have babies and whales will be back on Earth. So it's a great episode. Really great. But ever since that episode, I thought, why can't we communicate with them? They're such stellar communicators. I bet they could pick up our communication. We've got to make some efforts. And now, maybe AI is the key. All right, so we'll go to commercial and come back and talk about dogs and cats on Animal Party, Pet Life Radio. Stay tuned.
Take a bite out of your competition. Advertise your business with an ad in Pet Life Radio podcasts and radio shows. There is no other pet-related media that is as large and reaches more pet parents and pet lovers than Pet Life Radio. With over 7 million monthly listeners, Pet Life Radio podcasts are available on all major podcast platforms. And our live radio stream goes out to over 250 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, Odyssey, TuneIn, and other streaming apps. For more information on how you can advertise on the #1 pet podcast and radio network, visit PetLifeRadio.com/advertise today.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Hello! You're back on Animal Party on Pet Life Radio. Some people have a real preference for one gender or another when it comes to their pets. Some people say, oh, I only have male dogs, only get male dogs, or I only get female dogs. And oftentimes, it's interesting, men will say, I only get female dogs, and oftentimes women will say, I only get male dogs, which is interesting. But there are some differences in personality between female and male, and I've gone over that a little bit in previous shows. Some basic traits that do change depending on the individual dog, and, you know, it's a nature-nurture thing, how it was raised and all that. But in general, female dogs like to stay around the house more, like to protect those they know and be around the tight-knit group, and in general aren't as interested in the outside world. In general, males are very interested in the outside world and will have like a longer range. If you go on an off-leash walk or a park or anywhere, they're more interested in greeting and meeting new people, new things. That's just a general. Some people think males are more gregarious, outgoing, more friendly. And when it comes to intact males, they're more likely to bite than any other dog. But that could be also somewhat due to the fact that neglected dogs who aren't trained properly or socialized properly, are likely not to get neutered or spayed either. So there's some things into this that are difficult to know, like when they say, you know, classical music helped children learn so much. Well, was it the classical music, or was it that they were in homes that bothered to play it and were also reading them books, right? So some of these things are hard to do cause and effect with. But here's a study that tells us something new about female dogs that I didn't know. And I think this is just fascinating. A recent study revealed that female dogs can accurately detect levels of human incompetence. So, okay, they did all these tests, and basically the male dogs couldn't care less. They liked you or they didn't like you. They followed you around or they didn't. They bonded with you or they didn't, depending on you, not how well you knew the task you were doing. But the female dogs, apparently, in this study, when a task was assigned to the human, the most competent human was the one the female dogs would follow. And I find that so interesting. So they're not only loyal companions, they're really perceptive about our abilities and our competency. Yeah, it's just another light on their intelligence and their ability to read us. And why that would be different between the genders, I don't know. It's interesting to consider. And it might be one for me to bring up to the doctor, Professor Stan Coren, on a later show when I have him on again. In fact, I'm going to flag this one for a Professor Coren consult because we've got a few for him. Someone asked, why aren't animals afraid of fire when they should be? Wildlife are? Why are our pets okay with it? You know, and so that's one I've saved for him. So we're getting a little pile of Dr. Coren questions coming up, the dog guy. He wrote The Intelligence of Dogs and many other dog books and was actually one of the experts who testified in the O.J. Simpson trial about the dogs, what the dog's behavior implied about guilt or innocence. So very interesting guest to have on the show. And he's a little busy right now, so we're doing it by email. I send him the emails and he answers me back and then I read them out to you. So that's what we're going to do with Dr. Coren coming up on a future show. Okay, we're going to go to break. Can you trust the reviews? Do you trust the reviews? When you go to buy a dog product or a cat product and you read the reviews, it's 5-star on Amazon. Woo, woo. Everybody loves it. What do you think? What about a company? Should you trust that you go there and you read the reviews and everyone's saying they're great? Well, I'm sure you know if you read them, they're all the same wording that someone paid to have those done, or they're friends of the owner, right? That's an obvious one. But what about some other tricks? I'll tell you about that after the break. Stay tuned on Animal Party, Pet Life Radio.
Real people, real stories.
Our little dog developed this lymph problem. The chemotherapy lasted for 6 months, started developing more lymph nodes. So I thought I'd just try carnivore. The lymph nodes started to go down. Then I took him into the vet to have him checked out, and there was no signs at all inside.
My cat had issues that developed in his eye, and 3 months later, my veterinarian said, let's go ahead and remove the eye. I heard the carnivore on advertising, so I said, you know what? I'm going to order this product. They did the procedure. They did all the tests, and they said, I don't know what you did. This product saved his eye.
I've got a Labrador. She could hardly lift herself up off the floor. The treatment was chemotherapy. That's when I said, this could be the ticket. About 3 weeks, you could tell she was very alert. She was going on a 5-mile walk. She is just like prime again.
Call 866-836-8735. That's 866-836-8735. Or visit carnivore.com. That's carnivora.com.
Use promo code PETLIFE at checkout for 15% off your order at carnivora.com.
Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Hello, we're back on Animal Party, Pet Life Radio. So when you read a review, sometimes there's incentive. Okay, so the computer place I go to, they sell used phones and tech. And if you fill out they got these little tickets on the desk. And if you fill in your name and your email and blah, 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 you put it in the fishbowl. And at the same time, you give them a good review, then you're entered into a draw. You could win a laptop. You could win a tablet. Well, of course, you're going to write good reviews and send them in, right? Yeah. So they get great reviews. Of course they do. How many other companies are doing this? Loads. Some of them say you've got a chance at winning. Do a review and you have a chance at winning. Okay. So they're not giving out much, but they're getting great reviews. Are these reviews truthful? Probably not. Now, what about when you do something? Say you're on the phone with a telecommunications company or any service company, and they say, when we hang up, we're going to call you back with a survey. Please do the survey. Okay. So you do the survey. Answer 1 to 5. Are you satisfied, unsatisfied? If you answer unsatisfied, it will end there. But if you say, I love it, you'll get another call back asking you for a review. And that's another way they get these reviews, right? They don't ask the people who aren't happy. They only ask you for your review when you're very, very happy. So they get a lot of happy reviews from the happy people who may be the minority of the purchasers. So there's another trick you got to watch out for. And I've seen this a lot. Okay, now here's another one. This is with a company I'm dealing with in a dog way. And it's a really good company. It's working out really well for me. But the thing is, my place is now a sniff spot location. Okay, so you can come here and walk your dog and rent the place basically for an hour or a half hour, walk your dog around and get to enjoy all of Camp Good Dog privately. You and your dogs and nobody else. And, water feature and jumps for dogs. It's just perfect. Fully fenced farm. It's awesome for dogs. Okay, but the thing is, every time you come here, if you're a Sniff Spot member and you want to book again, say you book today my place, tomorrow you want to book somewhere else, you can't do that unless you leave a review for my place. So you have to leave a review. And it's with your name, and I see your name, everybody sees your name. So it's really into your interest to leave a good review. But not only that, as the owner of the Sniff Spot location, I have to leave a review of the visitor in order to see their review. So now Sniff Spot just got 2 5-star reviews, one from me and one from them, because I want everyone to see I'm a nice host and I like everybody. And look at me, I'm a 5-star hoster. If you go with me, you'll get a 5-star review. And the same for the visitors. Now, my place happens to be a 5-star place. It's got the dog wash station and everything. So it's good. But if I I am a little skeptical though, because when they market and they say 1 million 5-star reviews, well, sure. And I'm not saying they do that. They probably don't do that. But if they were to, of course, because every single time somebody uses my place, I must make a review and they must make a review. So that's a lot of reviews. Now, it's true. It really is 5-star. It's accurate. I really was happy with the last guest and they really were happy with me. But the thing is, in some cases, that may not be true. And it's still going to look like everybody was happy because everybody's worried about how it looks. So that's something to consider when you do the reviews. And when you read reviews, that they may not all be honest. I like, when I'm looking at a product, I like to actually see the person use it. When they show a video, they show them opening the box and they show how it works and they show it actually functioning, because then I can look at it and see, okay, would that work on my dog? Would that work on my cat? Would that work on my cat door? Would that work on my dog seat in the back of my car? Whatever the product is, would that keep my dog out? Would that let my cat in? You know, I can see how it's working with their animal. Is their animal like mine? Is it not? Is their house like mine? Right? And I can really, really see, okay, is this going to work for me? I also check where it's shipped from and the return policies, because sometimes even the videos are misleading. All right, so I think we have one more break left in the show. Not too sure about that. We're flying through the news. And I want to tell you about, actually, I think we're done with the break. So I'm just going to go to the next news story, which is, here's an incident that was in the news here, but it could happen anywhere where there's Uber. Okay, so if you're in a town where there's Uber, and maybe you don't have a car, but you have a dog, and so you get Uber Pet the 2 times a year you need to go to the vet or whatever, the groomer, and maybe you've had good experience with this. But here's an example of someone who did not have a good experience. So Uber Pet has definitely lost a customer here in Vancouver, because what happened was they booked, and their dog Nutmeg, I saw the pictures, I saw the videos, it's a little dog, 10-pound little dog, right? Okay, clean, brushed, just an average pet dog, real small. Okay, so what happened was they took a ride with Uber Pet. There was a $25 rate that should have been charged. Okay. And then you pay an extra $5 if you book an Uber that allows pets. So they paid that. Okay. But they were charged, so their ride should have been $30, but they were charged an extra $60 for a cleaning fee. Now, normally in the contract with Uber Pets, it says that you will be charged an extra cleaning fee if there are food spills or toxic messes, or vomit, urine, they spell it out. Okay. Now, Nutmeg did not vomit, did not urinate, did not spill anything. Okay. So, because it was disputed after the fact, the driver disputed it, they sent pictures of the seat that supposedly needed cleaning. And the pictures reveal a couple of hairs and a couple of pebbles. That's it. It's a very clean seat. It's the kind of mess you could have had from anybody's bag or anybody's own hair, or, a little girl for sure, a boy who's been at the beach. Any of these things could have made that mess. And it's really, really minor. One swat of the hand and a couple of hairs and you're done. So anyway, they disputed it with Uber. The photos were ridiculous. And even still, Uber did not return their money. They didn't let them. So they had to pay an extra $65 for this, an extra $60 for this ride that should have been $30. So they're never using Uber Pet again. Now, there is a way Uber Pet could have looked at the metadata and they could have figured out when, the time and date of when this rider was there and if the dirt and gravel and the hair was caused by them. But in any event, when I saw the pictures, to me, that's not messy. That's not messy at all. That could have been caused by anybody, not necessarily a dog even. And there's no reason that a $60, this is a total scam. And I'm sure the person who owned the Uber did not get a professional cleaning job. There was no need for it. They just book dogs and they put their thing on Pet so they can charge the extra fee. So be aware of that. There are lots of services. If you get a bad experience, please write a bad review. Please, for the rest of us. And if you get a bad experience, switch your allegiance. You don't have to stick with Uber Pet. The head honchos were contacted. The media picked it up. They tried to pursue it, and nothing. They didn't even fold when it became a TV story. So I would suggest that Uber Pet is not doing what they should do. All right, everybody. Until next time. Ciao, meow. Be good to your animals. For me, Deb Wolf, and Animal Party on Pet Life Radio.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.